I don't know what that was. Today, I'm going to be answering some of your guys' questions. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of the video because I will be announcing the winners of the 1,000 subscribers giveaway then. So the most frequent question that I get asked is, can I release sheet music? Particularly for Somewhere Between the Notes, but also for my other songs. No. The short answer is no. The long answer is that I am a musical failure, and I used to take classical piano, and I knew theory, and I could read sheet music, but it has been several years since I quit, and I've pretty much entirely lost the skill. To be honest, actually, I was always way better at playing by ear than reading music, so when I used to take lessons, I would ask my teacher to play the piece for me first, before I tried to read it, and what I was actually doing was just memorizing what she played, and then spitting it back out at her, not reading the music at all. So it took her about 3 years to realize that actually I still had no idea how to read music and I was just cheating the system. And it took nearly failing a sight reading exam to figure that out. So I have always been terrible. I'm still terrible. I don't have sheets for my music. I just play what I hear and push record and go from there. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I've had requests for tutorials as well because I thought maybe I could do that instead of releasing sheets, but I have not figured out how to rig my camera to be able to see my hands properly. Just the way that my room is set up and where the piano is, it kind of either cuts off the right hand or it's upside down or like flipped backwards. So I'm working on that. I want to release it because I know you guys want to learn these songs, and yeah, I'm doing my best. But no, I can't release the sheet music because I'm an idiot, and I still haven't figured out how to make a tutorial. So I'm doing my best. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Can you put your music on Spotify or iTunes? Yeah, so with Spotify, I haven't really looked into this in much detail, but from what I understand, I think you have to pay to upload your music, at least that's what I heard. I have no idea if that's true. If you know if that's true, let me know. But yeah, I haven't really looked into it. If that's true, unfortunately, with my student loans, I don't think I'm going to be able to swing that at this time. If it's not true, then I will have to look into that again. And then with iTunes, I haven't put it on iTunes because I am Canadian, and to use iTunes to upload your music, you need an American bank account, which is possible, but it's a long process, and with school and work and my volunteer positions and writing and music and blah, 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 blah. I haven't had a chance yet, so I do just sell it on Bandcamp because that's really easy. I can just upload it from where I am, and then I release the videos, obviously, on YouTube where you guys can listen, and it's easy for me to do. So maybe in the long run, hopefully maybe this summer when I have time off, that could be something I look into, but for the time being, it is not on iTunes or Spotify, sorry. I feel like both of these questions so far have just been me apologizing. I feel like that's going to be a lot of this video. I just have the questions on my phone here, so when I look down, that's what I'm doing. Have you ever considered a song for Anon and the 13? Yes, I have. I think Anon is awesome, but here's the thing. So I don't know if you guys have heard of Beth Crowley. I think her name's Beth Crowley. Can't remember her last name, but her name's Beth. She was the one that did the Warrior song for the Mortal Instruments. So she did a song recently inspired by Throne of Glass called Battle Cry. And she didn't actually say who it was about, I think, but I hear it as being a song for Manon. It just sounds like her story and her emotions. So I kind of felt like at this point, what's the point in me doing one? Because hers is perfect. But I thought that maybe after the rest of the series comes out and it's all wrapped up, if there's more development in her character and her story, maybe I'll make one then. So I'm going to wait because for now I feel like Beth's song really captures all that needs to be said about it. Obviously music is infinite, but I just felt like it was such a perfect interpretation of the character that I didn't really have anything to add. Who do you ship Aylin with? Oh, I love this question. I'm definitely an Aylin and Rowan fan. I have been since Heir of Fire. Actually, I released on Tumblr, right after that book came out, a post called Reasons Why Selena, because at that point she was Selena, Reasons Why Selena will end up with Rowan before they were even romantically involved, because I was like, this needs to happen. My one friend that read the book was like, no, it's gonna be Kale, like, they're just friends, they just train together, and I'm like, you don't understand. So, yes, I ship them. I will actually link that post in the description because I get to feel like such a hipster being like, yes, I liked them before they were a thing. So anyway, yes, I will link that. That's who I ship. How long have you been writing songs? So this is an interesting question. I would write like little rhymes and ditties as a really small child. I don't remember any of them. The first actual song I can remember writing, I think I was maybe like 9, and it was just a song on the piano, no lyrics or vocals or anything, and I can't for the life of me remember it now. I just remember my piano teacher saying, oh, this is really good, we should try to write it down, but of course I sucked at like sheet music even then, so I didn't know how to do it myself. I mean, I also was like 9, so maybe that's not my fault, but she wrote it down for me. I guess maybe she still has it, but I don't know where it is, and I don't remember how to play it. But the first song that I wrote, or can remember writing with lyrics and like more of a, I guess, pop song, I was 11, and again, I don't remember it except for 2 lines, which was something like, I'm no longer the author of my story. I dropped the pen and someone else picked it up. Something like that. And I don't remember what happened next after that, but that was basically the first line in the chorus, I think. Also, I have a cold right now, so please ignore that vocal. Do you pour your milk or your cereal first? I didn't even realize people poured their milk first. I pour my cereal first. If you pour your milk first, comment below because I think that's hilarious. I've never even heard of that. But then maybe I'm just narcissistic and assumed everyone was like me. Yeah, I guess cereal and then the milk goes over top so that it all gets wet and doesn't float awkwardly. But maybe that's just me. Can you make a song about the Lunar Chronicles? Yes, actually I made one already, only about Winter and Jason. Because I read that recently when the last one came out, and so I will link that in the description below, and yeah, check it out. Have you read Tower of Dawn? In the process currently, have been inspired, songs are coming. Pet peeves. Ooh. People that walk really slowly right in front of you on a sidewalk, and like either in a group so you can't pass them, or they take up the entire sidewalk so you can't pass them. I'm not even a really fast walker. I mean, my whole family's full of fast walkers. I walk probably average, but like for some reason, maybe it's because I'm claustrophobic, but if somebody's in front of me going slowly, even if we walk the same pace, I'm like, get the fuck out of my way. I don't know, it's really weird. It makes me completely irrationally furious, like for no apparent reason. Well, I guess the reason is that they're slow, but like that shouldn't make you angry, and it makes like the red mist descends, and I just want to body check them out of the way. Like, yeah, that would probably be my pet peeve. What got you into the Throne of Glass or ACOTAR series? Okay, so this one, how did I? I can't even remember the year the first Throne of Glass came out, but I remember it was the first week that it was released because I was wandering through Chapters, which is a bookstore here in Canada. I don't know if you have it elsewhere, but basically I was a huge reader. I still am a huge reader. And so in high school, I would often just go into the bookstore after school or on the weekend and just pick out like a new book. I didn't really research them first. I kind of knew what I liked and I'd just wander in and pick up something. And so I remember the day I went in and I was searching through the YA fantasy section, and there was this book. It was thrown actually here. And this copy of Throne of Glass with the original cover, so cheesy, was kind of slotted between other books. So like on the shelves, they'll put it like this if it's not a popular book, and they put it like this if it is a popular book. And so I remember it was between 2 books like this, but it was like that. And I just remember seeing Throne of Glass and thinking that that was a really kind of intriguing title. So I picked it up and I read the back and thought, oh, that seems really interesting. So I just bought it, read it, and loved it, and was sold ever since. And I kind of remember in those days, like no one had really heard of it yet except for her mega fans from when she used to post on the internet just in pieces. So I can't claim I was there for that, but I was definitely there from the beginning of Throne of Glass. And I just remember like being obsessed, and nobody had heard of them and nobody had read them. And I was sitting there like reading, speed reading, just being like, somebody needs to read this. And I guess, okay, I'll be perfectly honest. Throne of Glass is not my favorite. The series definitely improved. Like, I loved the first one, but it wasn't a favorite book. I just remember thinking, oh, that was really interesting. I want to know what happens next. And then Crown of Midnight was the one that just was like, and then that was when I was like a hardcore fan, sold for life. So that's kind of how I got into it. I just accidentally picked up the book in a bookstore and then bought all of her other books because I love them. Who is your favorite character in Sarah's series and why? That's a good question. I think, in ACOTAR, I think Nesta is my favorite. Mostly because I relate the most to her. Very aggressive and a heart of steel. See what I did there? Yeah, so I don't know. I really connected with her, her emotions and her reactions to things. And then in Throne of Glass, I think Lysandra. I don't know. It's really hard, but I find her really interesting. And I think mostly because I really hated her at first. And then kind of when you get to know her, she's really interesting. So also shape-shifting. How did you first get involved in writing, composing, and singing? We're talking like creative writing, if that's what you meant by writing, versus writing songs. That's something I've just always done. I've always been a reader, and then I've always just written. So I remember being 6 maybe, and I would write as an escape. So, but instead of diary entries, I would write diary entries, but like from the perspective of characters. So I would write about my life, but like put the events of my life into a fantasy setting from a random character's perspective. I don't know if that's really weird. Maybe I'm just insane, but yeah. So like I was raised in a pretty conservative house that had very sort of strict rules about what women should be like, and that entailed getting married and having children and being a housewife. And so I remember being like, I'm not having any of that. So I was 8 and I wrote about this fantasy princess who ran away from home because she was in an arranged marriage and wanted to go off and sword fight. And so like I wrote it as diary entries. So like the date that it was in my life, I would date it that, and then like write this character story, except that it was really my story. I don't know. And then with music, I kind of covered that when I said when did I write my first song. I was always musical. I think I just came out singing, as my mom likes to say. There's videos of me as like a 1-year-old where my mom's in the kitchen singing, "You are my sunshine," and I'm this little toddler in the other room going, "Sunshine away!" like completely off key. But yeah, I loved music from a young age, and my parents put me in lessons, or piano lessons, so I learned to play instruments and then taught myself guitar in my early teens. And yeah, it just kind of went from there. Like it was always something that I did and always something I needed to do, in the sense of I'm not very good at emoting, at least in person. So I would always either write a story about it or I would write songs about it. And I found songs were a faster way of releasing negative emotions. And so most of my songs are really depressing because with me, when I write a song, it kind of releases the emotion. It's not in me anymore. So if I'm happy, I don't really need to get rid of that. So I don't write happy songs. But yeah. So it's just a way I have of expressing myself that I've done kind of as long as I can remember. Have you ever contacted Sarah J Maas with some of your work? No, I have not. I do have a Tumblr account and I post sometimes about her work, and the World of Sarah J Maas actually liked one of my posts and shared it once, and that was pretty awesome. And then I also sent her a fan letter, because I'm a dork, after I read Air of Fire, and was just like, oh my gosh, this was the best book ever. And she responded to that and just said, oh, thanks, that was so great. I'd love to meet you sometime. And I was like, yes, I'd love to meet you too, but that was kind of the end of it. I'm sure she's really busy, but I still have that letter, so yeah. How did Sarah J Maas's books influence you? That's a good question. I guess they didn't influence me in the sense of like changing my outlook or anything, but they definitely kind of reaffirmed a love of fantasy that I'd had my whole life. And I guess I also really enjoyed how Selena in particular kind of bridges the girly with the aggressive, because before that, like, as I said earlier, I came from a conservative house, so I read a lot of fantasy books for escape, and I found a lot of the female protagonists were either really, really girly and a bit like, just save me, I can't do anything, or like really masculine and like, I will kill everyone and I hate makeup, ew. So it was almost stereotyped. There was not a lot of complexity. So what I appreciated a lot about Selena was that, yes, she could kill everybody in the room, but also she wanted to like read a book and play with makeup, and you know, it was more balanced. Do you read stuff outside of YA? Yes, absolutely. I read everything. My main love would be probably medieval literature. I know it's really weird, but if you look up here, oh, it's going up. So the very top shelves are my history books, and then it gets into like the more like literature history stuff. So you can see Beowulf there, Grimm's Brothers. That's not really medieval, but yeah, medieval literature. If you like war epics, read The Song of Roland. It is amazing. My main love is medieval Norse sagas. So you can see here I have the complete sagas of the Icelanders. Brynhildr is my homegirl. What is your favorite book? That's tough. I think, so cruel to me. I think probably The Cry of the Ice Mark by Stuart Hill, if I was pushed, but only because of the impact that book had on me as a kid. Actually, I have it right here. So, like I said, I came from a traditional household, and reading became an escape for me, so I would read as much as possible, as much fantasy as I could, because I was just captivated by that kind of world with swords and heroism and magic and all that. So I loved that already. And then this book features Thyrin, Princess of the Ice Mark, who is modeled after Viking shield maidens, which is probably why I fell in love with Viking sagas later in life. But yeah, she's just the first kind of really kick-ass female heroine that I read. And yeah, it impacted me at a young age. And it was actually my older brother. My parents gave this to him because, you know, fantasy's for boys. And then he snuck it to me after and was like, you're gonna love this. And it really kind of changed my life and was the first fantasy book I read. Well, okay, not the first fantasy book I read. I read a lot of like fairy tale fantasy, but the first high fantasy, and the first with a really strong female heroine that also used a sword. So not just strong in her mind or something like that, but like athletic. What is your favorite YA novel? God, you're so mean to me, making me pick. That's so hard. I guess, no, I'm not going to choose. Sorry. I'll make a video on books that I love if you want. Comment below, but I'm not picking. Do you ever hope to have your music recognized by a music company? That's an interesting question. I used to when I was younger, and I spent a little while trying to become a musician. I did a few talent shows and did a few festivals, and I guess, I don't know, I liked it, but I'm also really introverted, and so I found it very uncomfortable when I started to develop like a little bit of a name for myself. Obviously I was not famous, but people in my area or at my school who had seen me, who I had never met in my life, would come up to me and be like, hi, like, you're so talented, and I loved blah, 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 and which is so sweet, but like I said, I'm so introverted, and so I was so uncomfortable, and like, I have no idea who you are, why are you talking to me right now? And I just knew then, like, I would not want to be really famous. So I think, do I want my music recognized? Yes, but in the sense of, internet's great because there's some distance, and then also I've considered songwriting because nobody ever knows who the songwriter is. They only know the artist behind it. So I feel like I could be okay with that, but then also at the same time. But maybe that would make me sad if someone else sang my song. So I don't know. We'll see. What is your favorite book in the Throne of Glass series? You guys are so mean, making me choose. Heir of Fire, because Rowan. If you had to choose a court to describe every day of the week, what would it be? Oh, good question. That is tough. I'm going to come back to that. Maybe I'll make that a video, assigning a court to a day of the week. That's really cool. Thank you. Good question. Can you recommend any other books similar to Throne of Glass? Ooh. Yeah, I guess it depends what you mean by similar. Like, I guess I would say Trickster's Choice by Tamora Pierce has a very similar main character. High fantasy, but the character's not a princess. She's a spy helping to put the princess back on the throne, but they have a very similar attitude. The Inheritance Cycle by Christopher Paolini is similar in terms of like the grand scope of world building and a story told over many books with multiple main perspectives. The Graceling by Kristen Cashore, I guess, in terms of like a strong murderous fantasy heroine that finds the humanity in herself. Yeah, maybe if that's not helpful, let me know what you mean by similar. Have you ever met Sarah J Maas, or are you going to meet her someday? Well, no, I have not met her, other than that sort of email communication and Tumblr communication I mentioned earlier. No, I haven't. I haven't been able to get out to any of her book signings. There's never been one in my area, and school timing has not allowed for me to go travel. But yes, I would absolutely love to meet her one day. I think it would be absolutely hilarious to have her on this channel doing a Sarah reacts to my songs kind of video. So Sarah, if you're watching, I'm nobody, so I doubt that will happen, but like that, yeah, I would love to meet her one day. How do you come up with lyrics and music to your amazing songs? Oh, thank you. And what is your favorite math book? Favorite book by Sarah is, as I said, Air of Fire. How do I come up with lyrics and music? That's a really hard question because, like, the simple answer is I don't. It just comes to me, but that sounds kind of weird. Yeah, I guess the typical process is that kind of a word or a picture will stick with me. So, like with Heart of Steel, after I finished the series, the kind of thought that kept playing in my head when I was thinking about Nesta and Cassian was this line, "It's not just your body, it's the beast in your eyes, too strong to break, too strong to cry." That was sort of the little poem that popped into my head when I thought about them. So I guess usually what happens is I get some sort of lyric or picture, word picture first. Basically it'll be kind of one thing that just gets in my brain and I'll dwell on that. And from that, other lyrics will follow. And then I'll usually just sit down at the piano and play a chord and then just go from there. I don't know, like, it's kind of weird. But, like, yeah, I'll just start singing, and then if it sounds decent, I'll repeat it until it kind of forms itself into a song. But yeah, usually the lyrics come first, or at least a lyric. And then as I make up a melody for that, more lyrics follow. So it's not really a set process, it switches back and forth, but generally speaking, that one kind of line, couplet, image will be the first thing that I get, and that's how I know there's like a seed of a song in there. What is your favorite song of all time? That's a hard one. This is the same as picking a favorite book. Like, I don't know. You know, I have so many favorites, and it depends on the mood that I'm in. But I guess, okay, I'm going to say two that are very different, but kind of two songs that I never ever get tired of. So the first is Blackheart by Two Steps from Hell. This is an instrumental piece that just speaks to my soul. I don't know if that's really cheesy, but like every time it's on, I freeze and I have to listen to it, and the violin melody just like, I don't know, tears at something in me, and I can't go look it up. And then the other would be Orange Sky by Alexi Murdoch. And this is just a very relaxed, guitar-heavy vocal. It's just, I don't know, it's so peaceful. The main image that plays is, I had a dream last night. I stood beneath an orange sky with my brother and my sister standing by. And I don't know, it's just something in that image about the sun setting or sun rising, I guess, depending on how you take orange sky. Being with your siblings or somebody that you love really dearly. And that sense of like strong community and family and peace despite whatever chaos is going around. It's the sense of, for me at least, coming home or final rest. And yeah, it's a place I can always go back to in the middle of chaotic life. That song just reminds me of hope, I guess. And the possibility for ultimate peace and yeah, that depth of love and commitment with your family or your friends if you don't have close family. But yeah, it just holds such a sense of peace for me, so that's definitely a favorite. Well, that's all the questions so far, but if you have more, obviously keep commenting and I'll make a part 2. Yeah, thanks for asking questions, thanks for listening, and thanks for all your support. You guys are great. I say this all the time, but it's just so wonderful to have this little community of dorks. Or as somebody commented, I can't remember who it was, but there's something about how my songs make them feel like they're not alone in their mild obsession. I'm like, girl, mine is not a mild obsession. So yeah, thanks so much. I love you guys, and yeah, talk to you next time. Bye. So different outfit, different location, different day, because I realized I totally forgot to announce the winners to the giveaway. So I'm just making this, tagging it onto the video before I post. This is Pilot. He's the neediest dog alive, so he's going to be our little guest for the next several seconds and make my life very difficult. So the winners were picked by my friend Rhea. Hi Rhea, if you're watching. Yeah, so you can blame her if you didn't win. She just selected them randomly from the comments. So without further ado, the winners of the giveaway are, and I'm really sorry if I pronounce your name wrong, Sophie Wisaki, Bash-100, and Kitty Pug Minecraft. So yeah, if you are one of those 3 people, can you please send me an email? I'll put my email in the description with your address, and I will send you the art. Yeah, so I'll give you till Monday to respond, and if you don't, then I'm going to pick new winners. So yeah, send me your address, and I'll send that along to you. Great, thanks.